Today, for my next presentation, I will be talking about depression. I'll be talking about the background, the causes of this disease, the symptoms, and finally the treatment and prevention of depression. Depression is a serious mood disorder that affects with our mental ability. So it is important to understand the causes and effects for this serious mental illness. For me as a speaker, is to inform all of you on why you should take depression seriously, understand what depression really is, and how all of you can help someone through with their depression. The question is, what is depression? Depression is a serious mood disorder that causes the persistence of sadness and the loss of interest. There are different types of depression. There's 5 different types of depression, like clinical, bipolar 1 and 2, persistence, and postpartum. First one is clinical depression, also known as the major depression. It is an illness that is most common in an individual. The individuals who have their mood is surrounded with sadness, emptiness, and numbness. It makes their life difficult. Persistence depression is a mild but a long-term depression, and it is considered to be the second most common form of depression in individuals. The individual usually feels low energy, hopelessness, and low self-esteem. And this type of depression usually last around 2 years. The medical term for this is called dysthymia. Bipolar refers to depression, a depressive disorder that causes the individual's mood to range from lows to manic highs. The proper term for this would be called mood swings. An individual's mood episodes that can last into days to months. Bipolar second depression. It is worse than the first bipolar depression. With bipolar 2, an individual has the combination of depression of episodes and hypomanic episodes. An individual that is usually experience a depressive episode for 1 day along with a hypomanic episode that is lasting up to at least 4 days in total. Postpartum depression. It usually occurs after a woman has their child. The woman can get depressed and insecure because on how their body looks after they're given birth. Second, the causes of depressions. There are many causes of depression, but only 3 of them remain the most common, such as the first one is genetic, the second, the death or a loss of a loved one, third, abuse, whether it is sexual, physical, or mentally. Okay, so how can these causes affect the individual? First, the genetic. The medical doctors and researchers are unaware on why the genetics cause depression in the individuals, and the pattern is to be unclear. Death or loss. When fighting in depression, you're already feeling the sense of sadness and loneliness. When you lose someone you love, that grief is adding on what you're already experiencing. It can get to the point where the individual's symptoms becomes worse, making it very hard for them to function throughout their day and the day activities. Abuse. When it comes to depression and abuse, because there are different types of abuse that correlates differently with the depression. The most common one is physical abuse. and someone who goes through physical abuse will experience down below, which is, excuse me. The first one, low self esteem. Second, has a feeling of being worthlessness. And third, self suffering. Since someone is experiencing these types of feelings, this is not what only makes their depression worse, but it makes it more difficult to cope with the stressful situations. Okay, what are the symptoms of depression? There's many symptoms of depression, but the main symptoms of depression are here: moodiness or irritability. Everyone in the everyone and everything that makes you angry. Sleep a lot or not sleep enough, very sleepy or wide awake. The changes of hunger, which is eating a lot or not eating enough. Unexplained pain, you don't know why you are feeling this way. Unable to concentrate, making it hard to get things done. Excuse me. Okay, so what is the sign that someone has a depression? Like for the symptoms, the signs of depression, I'm sorry, the signs of depressions are a lot to look at. Here are some of the main signs that someone is dealing with depression. Starting with the first one, hopeless outlook on life. You're looking at yourself as not having a purpose. The second one, anxiety, feeling the tense and jittery. The third one, suicide, the attempt of when someone harms themselves, ending their life. The fourth, uncontrollable emotions, something that can help how you feel. Isolation, being away from everyone and having your own space. Excuse me. All these signs are part of depression and can be noticeable in an individual. Okay. Number 4, treatments and preventions. What are the treatment options that are available for depression and do they work? In below, there are some treatment options for the depressions. So, number 1, antidepressant medications to help uplift your mood depending on what kind of depression you may be suffering from. The second, excuse me, psychotherapy, talking to a therapist about your problems. Third one, hospital or residential treatment. Depression can be so severe that you may need to seek for more help. So, the best way to get help for your depression is for you to go to therapy and hospital or the residential treatment. Medications are for only to cover up basically for depression to cope with your pain. Okay, what do doctors recommend for treatment? Excuse me. When it comes to a recommended treatment for depression, for most doctors will recommend medication. Medication, however, isn't only a cover up, but it doesn't have a lasting effect on an individual who has depression. So the doctors will recommend different ways to treat depression, and other ways to treat depressions are including exercise. It proves to be more effective in coping with depression. Group therapy, helping to develop for a relationship between yourself and others who are dealing with the same problems. Excuse me. Social support, it helps reduce the isolation. Stress reducing, toxic and negative stress situations that increase depression. So, reducing stressful situations will better help your depression and increase your moods. And finally, for my conclusion, the key points and how you can help with someone. Excuse me. Okay. It affects you mentally and physically. The headaches or migraines are caused mentally. Physically, you're very tired with a low energy. It's connected with other health problems. That's the second. Chronic diseases such as the inflammatory of autoimmune are at high risk for the individuals who are suffering with this condition. Excuse me. The third one. You can be depressed and not look at it. Around the individuals, you're always smiling and laughing. But deep down inside, you are lost, emotional, and dealing with pain. And you don't want others to know. Depression has different triggers and not just one in specific. So, how can you help with someone who is suffering from depression? Here we go. There are different ways that you can help with someone who is suffering from their depression. In below, there are listed ways that you can help someone with depression. Like, starting with this one. From the personal experience, listen to their problems. As for someone who also suffers from depression, the best way to be helped is talking to someone that you are close with, whether it's a family member or a close friend. Having someone who's there help to support you, that goes along the way. Excuse me. Explain that the illness does not make you weak or it is considered a flaw of yours. Understand that at the same time goes on, the things will be getting better and your depression will be treated. Okay, so recommend seeking for professional help. This can help the individual see your point of view and may agree with you on your point and decides to get help for treatment. Be their support system. Offer yourself to go with them to their appointments and go attend their sessions with them. Excuse me. Understand that when dealing with depression, it is a constant battle of an everyday with your mind. No one speaks on it because they're afraid of being judged by others. Okay, so depression is a common and serious mental illness, and nobody deserves to go through this alone. I'm sorry. Even though depression is an unexpectedly upsetting and genuine affection, we ought to consistently shield ourselves from getting it. Yes. Continuously ask your loved ones for help. They can be the most accommodating individuals in your day-to-day existence. Seek treatment in a hurry. Recollect your friends and family that are there for you. Try not to stop for a second. Melancholy is just an unexpectedly perilous illness that can influence your family, friends, and yourselves, of course.